Hey folks, this is Kalani. Welcome back to the Legion Alpha, where we're going to have a look at Frost Mage, one of the newest specializations just made available. So we'll go through the basic abilities, all the utility stuff we still have left, then the talents, and then how the artifact is going to affect how we play. So let's have a look at the basic abilities. I'll be honest, things don't seem to have changed too much in the core rotation. You've got Frostbolt, Ice Lance, and Frozen Orb, and that's kind of it. So Frostbolt is the same as it's always been. Good old filler spell. We still build icicles, that's our mastery, and then we can spend them with Ice Lance. Now, Fingers of Frost is still a thing. Let's have a quick look at passives. So, Fingers of Frost, obviously you basically empower your Ice Lance and it deals a total increase of 380% damage. You've got a limit of 2 charges. Now, one passive has actually changed, that's Brain Freeze. We don't have anything to do with Frostfire Bolt anymore. Frost Bolts have a 10% chance to reset the cooldown on Frozen Orb. So let's have a look at that next. Pretty much the same, just a nice AoE ability, use it on cooldown. You're going to get 1 stack of Fingers of Frost whenever it hits a target, or when it hits the first target rather. And that's kind of it for the basic rotation, outside of utility and outside of talents. So, good old Frost Mage abilities, I guess. We've still got Cone of Cold. Doesn't really seem to have changed, we've still got Blizzard. Now that's a cast time and then a duration after, so that's quite interesting. You don't have to channel it constantly anymore. It's also got an 8-second cooldown. We've got Frost Nova. Again, doesn't seem to have changed. We've got Polymorph, because where would we be without it? We've got Invisibility still, Spell Steal, Ice Block. Still have Icy Veins. It's a 30% haste increase and prevents spell pushback. Lasts 20 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. And then, of course, they just couldn't take Blink away from us. We also still have Slowfall and Counterspell, which do the exact same thing they used to do. Ice Barrier is, once again, completely baseline, so that's not a talent. Pretty much the exact same thing, though. And then we've obviously got our teleports to play about with. So, let's move on to talents, I guess, because Frost Mage seems to be incredibly simple on the face of things. So, Ray of Frost seems to have come straight from Diablo 3. For the next 10 seconds, you channel a beam of icy power at the enemy. It slows the target for 50% and deals a decent amount of damage every 0.8 seconds. Each time Ray of Frost deals damage, its damage is increased by 20%. So let's have a look what that looks like. So you can see it ticking up in damage. It looks pretty much exactly like the one from Diablo 3 as well. Cool. Interesting to break your rotation. Doesn't seem to generate any icicles or anything, although we've got a nice animation to keep going. Not sure what he's casting, but there we go. Lonely Winter, you can no longer summon your water elemental. However, Frostbolt, Ice Lance, Frozen Orb, and Icicles, basically everything in your rotation, deal 25% more damage. Which, you know, might just be worth it, considering the elemental doesn't seem to be doing a great deal for us right now. Bone Chilling, whenever you attempt to chill a target, you gain Bone Chilling, which lasts 6 seconds and stacks up to 16 times. Each stack of Bone Chilling increases all frost damage you deal by 0.5%. Ray of Frost is still on cooldown. Let's see if that has any animation tied to it. The animation on your fist, I would guess. No, that's Fingers of Frost. Doesn't seem to have any animation tied to it, which is thoroughly disappointing. Shimmer, teleport the caster. Well, it's basically Blink, except it's off the global cooldown and can be cast while casting. So, 2 charges. You might need to remember to turn around. Cool. Cauterize. Fatal damage will bring you instead to 35% health and then burn you over 6 seconds, basically what it is right now. 2-minute cooldown. Cold Snap, Ice Block now has 2 charges and heals you for 3% of your max health every 1 second. Mirror Image creates 3 copies of the caster nearby, which cast spells and attack the mage's enemies for 40 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. Pretty much the exact same as what we are used to, I would expect. Still only using Frostbolt. Rune of Power places a rune on the ground for 10 seconds, which increases your spell damage by 50% while you stand within 8 yards. This comes with 2 charges, and you get 1 charge every 45 seconds. So this is more like a 10-second nuke cooldown. 50% damage is a lot on a 45-second cooldown, except you can use 2 of them in quick succession. So you'll be able to pop 1, stand within it if you want the free damage, stand without if you don't, I guess, and then you can pop another one straight after, but you're going to have to wait a little bit for another one after that. Incanter's Flow is pretty much exactly what it is right now. You've got a buff which builds up to 20%, and then it diminishes down to 4%, and it cycles every 10 seconds. Ice Nova is pretty much the exact same thing as what we deal with right now, except it's not tied to Frost Nova at all, so it doesn't replace Frost Nova. And pretty much exactly the same. Frozen Touch, when activated you generate 2 charges of Fingers of Frost. Fairly boring, on a 30-second cooldown. Bitter Cold, the damage of Frozen Orb is increased by 10%, and it now generates 2 charges instead of 1 of Fingers of Frost when it first reaches a target. Ice Flow, this is exactly what we have right now, lets you cast while moving, 3 charges, and it can be cast while another spell is in progress, and is unaffected by the global cooldown. Ring of Frost, summons a Ring of Frost for 10 seconds at the target location. Enemies entering the ring will become incapacitated for 10 seconds, with a limit of 10 targets, which should be exactly what we deal with right now, but let's just see if it actually has a new animation at all. That would be a sad resounding no. Ice Ward, Frost Nova now has 2 charges, but remember that Ice Nova doesn't play about with it at all, so it doesn't increase the charges of Ice Nova. So that seems a little bit weak, but never mind. Frost Bomb places a Frost Bomb on the target for 12 seconds, limit 1 target. Your Ice Lances that benefit from Shatter, remember that's basically if the target is frozen, or if you have Fingers of Frost, will trigger the release of a wave of freezing ice, dealing a bit of damage to the target and less damage to all other enemies within 10 yards. And it doesn't consume the bomb, so happily throw your Ice Lances away. Unstable Magic, Arcane Blast, Fireball and Frostbolt, so basically Frostbolt, have a 20% chance to explode on impact, dealing an additional 50% damage to the target and to all other enemies within 8 yards. Arctic Gale, damage dealt by Blizzard is increased by 30% and the area covered is increased by 20%. So a bigger, badder Blizzard. Thermal Void, casting Ice Lance extends your Icy Veins by 2 seconds. Again, a little bit boring, but if the numbers work out and that's a damage increase, then I guess that's what we'll be rolling with. Glacial Spike, this is where we get to the good new stuff. Basically, you require 5 icicles to cast it, and it joins all those icicles together, melts them all together, and throws them at your target. But this means it's your only way to spend your icicles. So, I mean, you won't be able to spend them any other way, meaning you better use this if you pick it. and it looks pretty cool. Comet Storm is a little bit of a boring note to end on because it's basically what we've got right now. Calls down a few comets and does a bit of damage. So that's it for the talents. That's basically all we get to play about with talents, but we have a whole new set of talents in Ebon Chill, our Frost Mage artifact. Now the first thing that you get is Ebon Bolt. Basically you get it when you equip Ebon Chill. Grants the Ebon Bolt ability, which deals massive Shadow Frost damage to a single target. Interesting that we get to play with Shadow Frost damage. So this is Ebon Bolt. It's on a 45-second cooldown. Kind of a bigger Frostbolt, and it gives you 2 charges of Fingers of Frost. So let's have a look at the rest of the artifact. So this is when we start. It's interesting because things have changed. Usually to start with you would get this ability, and that would be you unlocking your artifact, but now they've changed it so you actually go to one step further. So this is already unlocked, and then to unlock your artifact you get this one. So I'm wondering where they're going with that, but never mind. Shattering Bolts increases the crit strike chance of your Frostbolt by 10%. Let It Go, because they just had to, increases the critical damage of your Ice Lance by 10%. Jouster, when your Ice Lance deals damage, you take 4% less damage for 6 seconds. Obviously these are in ranks, so that'll be rank 1, and then rank 2 and 3 would improve upon that. Bear that in mind. Shield of Alodi, there we go, increases the magnitude of your ice barrier, probably by 33, 66 and 100%. First big one is Black Ice. Your icicles have a chance to become empowered by Ebon Chill, dealing 100% more damage. It's a little bit too passive for my liking, but I mean that's going to be a nice RNG factor to do a huge amount of damage. Your Frostbolt crits apply Empowered Ice Lance, increasing Ice Lance damage by 20%. Clarity of Thought increases the chance to trigger Brain Freeze. Denial of Service, successful counterspell interrupts reset the cooldown of your Frost Nova, Ice Barrier and Blink. Wow, that's going to be crazy for PvP. Let's go back down this way. Icy Caress increases the damage of your Frostbolt. It's cold outside. Your Water Elemental now casts Jagged Shard instead of Water Bolt, which has a chance to generate Fingers of Frost charges, which is kind of interesting because that first talent on the first row is all to do with not having a Water Elemental, so I kind of wonder if that artifact talent would be completely worthless if you chose it. Curious. The Storm Rages increases the crit strike chance of your Blizzard. Frozen Veins, Frostbolt crit strikes reduce the cooldown of your Icy Veins by 0.5 seconds. That's going to be crazy. I guess we're going to be stacking crit. Then where do we get to? Up here. Ice Age increases the crit strike damage of your Frozen Orb. Ice 9, your Ice Bolt has a chance to generate 2 icicles. And then Orbital Strike increases the damage of your Frozen Orb by 5%. The last one is Chilled to the Core. Activating Icy Veins encases you in ice, increasing your frost damage dealt by 40%. Making everything just so fantastic and tying everything together in a rather overpowered build. It's going to be cool. Artifacts really do seem to give you a stupid amount of power. But that is Frost Mage. That's the abilities, any new animations that we could pluck out of them, talents, and how the artifact is going to affect how we play. By the looks of things, a stupid amount of damage during Icy Veins, resetting it by stacking crit, and we can all have a good time throwing Ice Lances. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to get back to you. If you want to see anything specific from the Legion Alpha, leave that in the comment section as well. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.